share your slides. So.
Hi there, welcome to our hangout today on writing contests, well, writing and editing contests. We're here today to talk about the resources that are available on Meta, both the program, writing and editing contest toolkit and the program evaluation report that have been completed in the last couple of months. We also have the privilege of speaking with 3 program leaders who run writing and editing contests in their communities. We're going to share a little bit about what they've learned in the process of running these contests. And I don't know if you can see, I've added an Etherpad for today's event that should be in the comments section under the Hangout. Can anyone see that? Can I get some heads nodding on screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And if we can go ahead and share my slides, I can get started a little bit better. So our goal today, we know that these Hangouts in the past have felt a little bit one-sided and like we are talking at people. And I really want to try and get more people involved with the discussion and give people opportunities to add their ideas and join the discussion. So what just happened there?
Usually happens. Okay. Now you can see.
So here we go. So what we're going to do today, like I said, I've just welcomed you, told you a little bit about what we're going to talk about. After we do a quick poll, we're going to go through planning resources that are available on Meta, speak to 3 esteemed program leaders who have run contests in their communities. Then we're going to open the floor up to questions from everyone. And as people are speaking, please keep track of your questions in the Etherpad, which I will share the link to in just a moment. And then I'm going to let everyone know about how everyone can get involved to help build on the community resources that we have and make things better for both yourselves and other people who are planning writing and editing contests. So we're going to start this off with a poll. Now, I've been speaking at conferences lately, and I'm used to having a room full of 30 people where I can ask a couple of questions and say, hey, hands up. But we don't really have that luxury right now. So if you guys will go to the Etherpad, its title is Writing and Editing Contest Hangout. You'll see the agenda for today's Hangout and also some questions. And I'm really hoping that each of you will go through and add a link or 2 or the title of a contest that you work with. And that's either coordinating, judging, participating, funding, or acting as a mentor or in some capacity in your community. And then the second part that I would really like to get people to give some input on is to vote on the topics that you want the panel to discuss or that you want to see more coverage of in today's discussion. Edward here is going to keep an eye on the Etherpad so that he can let me and the panelists know what people want to hear more about. That way we can sort of shape this to fit everybody's needs as best as possible. So do we want to take a couple of minutes, maybe 60 seconds to do that? Where are we on the Etherpad?
We have a few people signed up.
Okay.
And are waiting the poll. So we want them to answer the poll.
Yeah, if people could just go through and do that. We really do want to hear from you and understand, which resources we can develop more to serve the community at large. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide, but please answer things, add things in as they come up, and let's see how this goes. So, as I said, we've been working the last couple of months to develop newer resources for people who plan and coordinate writing contests, writing and editing contests. And it's a purposely broad term because we know it's not just contests to write new articles. They can be contests to expand stubs or contests to do particular administrative tasks. And they serve a whole lot of different purposes. This is something that I was both fascinated and excited by as I began interviewing program leaders to find out about their experiences. I was learning that there's so much more to contests. It's a way to motivate people. It's a way to get communities back to a very small space where There's more eyes on the work that people are doing. People get excited when a topic that they're very interested in has come up. There are all sorts of different aspects to writing and editing contests that I hadn't been aware of, and I want to learn more about from all of you. So in that process of creating this, I interviewed 9 different program leaders about their experience running programs and contests. And if you'll go through this, this toolkit at some point, you'll see learning patterns that capture their experiences and their examples. And I know that there's a lot more out there that you all know that you can add to this. I mean, we spoke to 9 people, but I'm sure that there are hundreds of different contests happening on all different wikis. And we really want people to contribute their knowledge. So there are a couple of ways to do this. First one is here at the bottom of the start page is how you can help to improve this toolkit. Like I said, all of you have really great ideas, be that bots that you use to improve judging, tools that you use to keep track of who's editing, things that you've learned along the way of what works to promote a contest, different strategies to get new users to join your contest, but then encourage them to stay for longer. So if you can go through this toolkit, have a look. If your great idea is missing, please edit it. You can edit both the toolkit directly or the learning patterns that are linked throughout. The other way that you can help is this tab, the Connect button, or the Connect tab. What I learned in this process is that writing contests and the community of people who put them together, they don't have a space, at least that I'm aware of, where people can discuss, strategies for planning. It's not like GLAM or education where there are mailing lists or particular places on Commons or on Meta where these people collaborate. So my hope, and maybe this isn't what people want, is that people can connect here in this toolkit, both to share things that they're good at, things that they can help other people with, or go to the forum and ask questions, answer questions, and share things that you've learned along the way. I hope that this becomes a space where people can connect across different language communities to help each other improve and continue to do the things that you love with maybe new tools that you weren't aware of. So that's it for me on what we've got through the program toolkits. If I had you in the room, I would ask for a hands up who knew about this toolkit and who has visited this toolkit. And please feel free to leave notes somewhere in the Etherpad. If you've been there, if you love it, if you hate it, if you think that things are missing, we really do want that feedback because ultimately this is a community resource and we really need to know what's working for you to make it better. So I'm going to pass the mic, if you will, on to Edward, who is also on the Learning and Evaluation team. And he has been working the last several months with many of you to produce an evaluation report of how writing and editing contests have impacted our wikis.
Yeah, so in the last few months, we gathered a lot of data on about 30 different writing contests. And we just wanted to kind of get a sense of the different, some key measures of writing contests. We typically group these measures as inputs, outputs, and outcomes, as well as what are the common goals for writing contests. And yeah, so I think the report has a lot of information. I think one of the best things for this report, or one of the best ways to use the report, is it's really great for setting targets and just to get a sense of how people are doing in writing contests. How much content do they typically produce? How long is a writing contest? How many users or how many participants typically join a writing contest? And this can really help you to get a sense of what you can expect when you run a writing contest. And also at the very end, there's an appendix that we actually provide data tables on all the writing contests, and you can see, if you're from a specific region, you might actually find a writing contest in your region, and you might be able to see, what might be expected in your area or in your language. And we actually included writing contests from 11 different language Wikipedia. So this isn't just, just from a few projects. But we did only just include Wikipedia because that's what we had capacity for this time. So I really encourage you to check that out. And be sure to comment on the talk page if you have any questions about what we did, or if you have any other ideas for how to evaluate a writing contest. And
Great. Well, thank you so much, Edward. I've really gotten interested in particularly the area in the appendix or is it the inputs and outputs that actually lists all of the data that we've collected from those. I think it's really interesting to see what kind of results and outcomes different people are getting, and that's helped me identify areas where I want to learn more. And I hope that can help all of you identify people who could be partners or mentors that are in completely different communities. So now we're going to move on to speak to our panel. And just looking at I believe they have some presentations already prepared, but looking at the Etherpad, I see that people are really interested in knowing more about evaluating quality. So if our panelists could speak a little bit to that and their experience there, or those of you on the Hangout, if you can add questions that you have or add tips that you use to evaluate quality. There are also 2 votes on prizes that motivate. There's a learning pattern on that, and I would love everyone who's here to check that out, add what you know, and for the panelists, if you can speak a little bit to prizes that do motivate. The other ones, editor retention, contest promotion, and bots and judging tools all got 1 vote each. But by all means, keep adding in things that you'd like to hear about, and we will go on to our panelists. So our first program leader is Aranit, who runs a project called Wiki Academy Kosovo, which I understand is a multi-stage program, which he's going to be able to explain much better than I will. Aranit, do you want to go ahead and share your screen?
Let's try that. I don't know if it will work. You see? No, it's not working. But I did send you the slides, so if you could get them in your email address, please.
Yeah.
If not, it's fine. I will go on. You can look at me. So I'll try to address some of the questions that were brought up. I'm Aranit. I'm from Kosovo, and I've also done work with these Wiki Academies. We call them 3 editions of them in Albania. So the first one was held in 2013, and it covered national topics about Kosovo. It could be anything about Kosovo. The idea here was to improve the content that was available about Kosovo. Before that, we had a lot of articles regarding war and things like that, which was not really representative of Kosovo. So we thought that we could do better than that, and that was the initial goal. And then after that, we did one called City Marathon, which was on local topics. The challenge here was that the topics were quite narrow, so finding information or sources regarding these topics was quite difficult. So you have to be careful how narrow you go with your topics. And the third one was one held in northern Albania in Kukës. It's an impoverished town in northern Albania. The goal here was, of the funders, was to just do anything fun and nice for the children there. So we did it, and it was quite successful. We also did, along with all these 3 competitions, we did photo contests, which are pretty much what Wiki Loves Monuments does, but we were not limited in scope. And we were able to gather for the 3 contests about, I would say, 4,000 photographs. So from that, we got a lot of photos of nature, which was not really, useful, but still lots of other good photos as well. So how we did it? How much time do I have, Casey?
You've got 10 minutes.
Okay, let's see. So the nature of our competitions was quite intense in the amount of work that we took. So you have to, I don't know if you want to go this route, you have to judge for yourself. We used applications for diversity and to verify writing skills. For the first competition, just as an example, we got 300 applications for 140 spots, 140 people that were involved. We got them together in teams of 2 to 4 people. Mostly they were high school students, and most of the teams came together. So it was quite difficult to otherwise to create teams from zero. That didn't work well for us. We promoted in schools, so high schools, mostly some colleges as well, Facebook and online user media. Pre-events were wiki and research workshops for small groups, 15 to 20 people, and I could see that now there's a virtual workshop that they could also do online. I would try that. I don't know how well it will work, but that's something useful. We flew in wonderful Wikipedians from all over Europe to coach and lecture on specific Wikipedia topics. That's how I got to know some of the people, and at least one that recommended me to present here. And then we also provided free food for 2 days. The first time around, we did it 2 days in a row in a weekend, so Saturday and Sunday. And then next time, we did it Saturday and then next Saturday, giving them some time to work extra on their articles, and that worked quite well. We did judging by a jury. Most of them were actually not Wikipedians, so it was quite difficult to explain to them how Wikipedia works actually, but we managed. So lessons learned for us: teaching writing, research, and Wikipedia in one go was quite a challenge. We learned to use the user space instead of a separate wiki that we had established in the first round. And the idea here was that we would, be able to play alone without being, bothered by any Wikipedians. But that wiki got lots of spam, so it didn't work out. And then the user space worked quite well. We had to mediate with other Wikipedians to be gentle on our new users and content, because from my experience, it's that oftentimes it gets challenged quite harshly, especially in the English language Wikipedia. So we talked to them beforehand, the usual suspects, so that they would be nice to our contributors. We approved topics beforehand. Topics were quite a challenge. We got a lot of non-encyclopedic articles. Notability was quite an issue. There was lack of resources, so they would start working in an article and then find out that there's really not much sources on it. So this was quite a problem, but we somehow managed around it. We encouraged early contribution. Not always it worked, because we could see, notice the problems early and see the people that were having problems early and work with them in more personal manner. Now, so I said timeout between sessions, quite a good strategy. We had different skill levels. Some people considered that this was not fair. For example, would it be nice to put high school students and college students in the same contest? We couldn't quite give an answer to this problem. Teacher engagement. Our idea was that if we involve teachers, somehow Wikipedia would be part of the learning process, which is kind of a challenge of mine that we've been trying to solve. That didn't work so well. Putting putting teachers and students trying to deal with the same problem at the same time, teachers would, just not get involved as much. So this was a failure. We couldn't quite make it happen. Retention, not satisfactory. The reason for this, I think, was that these were people or students that had not written Wikipedia ever before in their life. This was the case probably for 98% of them. And making it as a competition ended with the competition, so that was a problem. We handed out significant prizes, some even in cash. We handed out cameras, what do you call them, tablets and things like that. So the awards were significant, but at the same time, there was no, I feel there was not as much lasting effect as I would have hoped. We also had the regional character. So for example, in the city marathon, we had cities competing with each other, and this was both good and bad, because I don't think competition is the idea of Wikipedia. It's more the contribution itself. So transferring this kind of goal, we tried as much as we tried. Photos, this was done in parallel with Wiki Love Monuments. I had no idea Wiki Love Monuments was going on without their tools, so it made it quite more difficult. There was lack of categorization, lack of descriptions. So we had to kind of intervene there and make sure that we were aware of all the submissions that were coming in. And the way we did that was that we added a layer of an application form on top, getting all their usernames, and then making sure that all their submissions were being counted on. So let's see. Let me show you some of the photos. If you could move to the next slide. So this is from Kux, the town in northern Albania, and you can see the small computer room in a cold winter full of students. It was quite a challenge. It was a room full of students, and we had a case where people outside were trying to help much more than those in the school, for example. So can we go to the next slide? This one is in Jakova, one of the cities in smaller towns in Kosovo. We split them in groups, and they were working in their in groups of 2 or 3 during the whole day, and then getting together in breakouts for the lectures that we had prepared for them on issues such as mutability, providing sources, things like this, topics, general topics. Yeah. This is the final event in Pristina. We got them all together, about 200 people, and this is the final the final moments of it. We handed out prizes there, and I think this is bringing them together, and certificates. I think everyone loves certificates, so those are critical. Make sure you hand them out. But yeah, it was quite an experience, both for the students and for us. It was very intense, lots of hard work. I don't know if you want to go this route. You need quite a dedication. So it's more like organizing a big conference than those standard like writing Wikipediathons or whatever they're called, with small groups of one class, college students or something like that. So that's all from me. And as far as about the questions that were raised, so I answered something on prices. I'm not sure if you're satisfied. Regarding evaluation of quality, I also said that we had our jury were non-Wikipedians, so they were. We had to work with the jury as well, unfortunately. But at the same time, we wanted to to have like an outside eye, a reader of Wikipedia who would be able to read the articles and judge them. And so in the worst case, so to say, we had I think 80 articles. It was easy to go through them, through a quick round and see what's worth it, and reduce it to, let's say, 20 articles, and then work with those articles and try to figure out the best of them. We gave out like 3 best prizes, but then also we gave I think 10 more for significant contributions. And I think I prefer this one, significant contribution, because I don't think we should rate articles, but at least not in a competition like this. So at the end, almost everyone got out with something nice, and a lot of people wrote back and said that that experience was the best that they had ever had. So this is from me. Thank you.
So, so I just want to make sure I captured what you did around the judging and the quality issue. So you said that you had judges who were not Wikipedians, who were judging based on content, and then you had Wikipedians also looking over it to make sure that stylistically things were done correctly. Is that what you said?
Yeah, in the jury we had Wikipedians as well, and I was available there to interpret any Wikipedia policies regarding referencing. We were quite critical on that, because we knew that our articles would be challenged online. So we made sure beforehand that we explained to the jury members all the rules. And also during the judging itself, if anything came up, we were there, and other Wikipedians were there to explain the way they should proceed. The criteria were listed beforehand, and they were Wikipedia articles criteria of good quality articles, so they were already there for us, and we worked with them. That's all.
So you use the quality article standards in order to evaluate these?
Yes. Yes.
So one of the questions from the Etherpad is, did participants leave the event with a different, perhaps positive opinion about contributing to Wikipedia in general?
With different, I'm sorry, what?
So did participants leave the event with a different opinion of Wikipedia? Did they have a positive opinion about contributing?
I see. Well, the strange thing is that many of these young students had no idea that it could be edited. So to give them that power of clicking edit and changing reality, so to speak, was or wiki reality, as you prefer, was quite uplifting. So, but as far as Wikipedia itself, I don't know. That's a very good question. Not sure if I can give an answer.
And one of my questions, I noticed that the Facebook page that you all use to promote this has something like 3,500 followers. And also you mentioned that there were 300 people who applied for 140 positions to participate in this competition. How have you been able to get such a large following? What did you do to get so many people interested in participating?
IPCO Foundation, which organized these events, already does a lot of real-world organizing with bar camps and things like that. So they have a large network around Kosovo, and this number was, gathered throughout the year. So we started in 2013, and so 3 years and going. Now, not all of them are Wikipedians or contributors in any way, but it seems that Facebook is really easy to get people. So it worked out. Now, not I wouldn't say that all of them are engaged, but it's helpful.
That is a good good way to reach people.
So it sounds, just to summarize, it sounds like you work with a partner. So because you were working with a partner who had a network of people they already worked with, that's how you were able to get the word out, right?
Yes, IPCO Foundation was the organizer, and the organization with the large network. And in the case of Caucus, which was an area outside of the where IPCO Foundation normally works, we also had local organizations that were able to work. We also worked with school directors and the local Department of Education. Now you have to understand that this is an area where not much is happening, so the students were quite keen to participate and take part into something that was promoted as was going to be very fun and new for them.
Okay. So it sounds like this was an opportunity for students to have fun in an academic way, and there may not be many opportunities otherwise in your area. My final question, and if maybe you can cover it in just a minute or two, is I see that you have a lot of partners that you worked with to do this project. What advice would you share with other program leaders who are going to work with partners to plan a contest? Are there any challenges you encountered or things you would do differently?
Yeah, our partners changed throughout the years. In the first one, we had Ministry of Foreign Affairs was our main partner, and they were interested in promoting Kosovo to the world. So, but then they didn't want to kind of participate anymore. And then in the second one, when we did the city marathon, we went to the different cities because we wanted to engage them about their local content. So that was the kind of the niche area where we could engage with them. Again, here the experience was quite different, and depends from the city administration that was how good they are in general. It reflects in even things like this. So in the case of Caucus, it was the Norwegian embassy in Albania that wanted to help the area, and then from there we just have to talk to a whole lot of people to to get any positive response. So, and that takes time, and takes time during working hours, because you have to visit them in their offices, and often in these instances they might expect something back, and you can't, or you don't want to give anything back to them. What you're giving back is the academy itself. So so a lot of mixed results, but it's like the shotgun approach. You try a whole lot of people, and some of them will work out.
So the takeaway there is working with partners takes time. It takes visits during the workday, and you'll need to reach out to many partners in order to find the ones who will follow through and work on the program. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. This was really interesting, and we appreciate the time you put into preparing this. People can continue to fill out questions that they have for you on the Etherpad, and I hope that you'll check those out later. Maybe we can move that Q&A over to the forum on the Toolkit to keep this discussion going. But now we're going to move on and speak with Andrei, who works with Wikimedia Ukraine, to plan a variety of different writing competitions. And it looks like we've got your screen. Have you there?
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Andrei Makuha from Wikimedia Ukraine. So first, some theory. What can be the contest the contest about. It can be about quality of the articles. It can be about quantity of the articles, and about quality and quantity together. So, and it can be like simple, just scores of each article added and weighted. Size of article also matters. So also when you're constructing a contest, it should be sustainable. Like we were developing rules that would be not harming Wikipedia, and if any rule is taken to an extreme, for example, if it is a contest of articles by number, then people will just make a lot of small articles, right? So we wanted to avoid any stupid rules in the contests, and also about the design of contests, they can be internal and external. Like internal is when community decides to make a contest, Wikipedia community, and they also can change rules of Wikipedia basically to make the contest happen. For example, articles, there can be a rule that articles cannot be deleted if it is a contest article, and contests also can be external to Wikipedia. And what we do is external contests. It's contests that don't violate any rules of Wikipedia. Yes. So, for example, external contests, we have a rule in our contest that if an article gets deleted from Wikipedia, it's disqualified from the contest. Yes. Then also contests can be designed for experienced Wikipedians and newbies. And for example, if the contest is designed for experienced Wikipedians, then such things as Wikification and like number of pictures can be a matter of contest. And if the contest is designed for newbies, then you probably won't want the contest to have to depend on Wikification, because it's hard for newbies to learn quickly. So what we did basically only two types of contests. Quality matters. That is the contest is people compete in developing one article, like one very big article or a few very big articles, and each article gets a number of points from a jury. And this number of points is actually the best article basically wins. And the other type of articles, the other type of contest that we did is weighted sum. I'm not sure if anybody does it also, but we will talk about that. So we had only one contest, like in 4 years, we had only one contest for the best article. It was a Wikipedia contest. And like it had very good articles, but few of them. Then we had only one qualitative contest where sums of scores of each article would be summed. It was organized basically by Russian Wikimedia. And what we actually do in the Ukrainian Wikimedia is quantitative contests where size of each article matters as well as the jury score. So we did 11 contests like that since 2011. Usually not a lot of contestants, like 30, 50 people, and each contest adds from 2 to 5 megabytes of information to Ukrainian Wikipedia, which is less than 1% of what we get yearly. So this is like a photo of presentation of one of the contests. In the center is one of Ukrainian regional politicians who was the sponsor of the contest. And here is at the left we have ex-First Lady of Ukraine, whose organization was the sponsor of the contest. And at the right, we have some winners of one of the contests. So they are quite publicized in Ukraine. So how we do it? Basically, we make a contest for 1 month, usually, sometimes about 2 months, and there is convenient thing in Ukrainian Wikipedia that Ukrainian community of Ukrainian Wikipedia, they kind of agree to make a banner in Wikipedia to promote a contest. So we are advertising a contest through site notice in Wikipedia. So basically, each person who goes to Wikipedia sees the banner. Of course, they can turn it off. And prizes are usually uniform. We have laptops, tablets, smartphones, some gadgets, some electronic gadgets. So what are the features of our contests? Those 11 that we organized in 4 years. They are targeted at attracting newbies. So, for example, participants participants who are newbies frequently win the contest, actually. And it's easy to participate. All the person needs to do is to write an article and to put a template onto the talk page of the article, and it will be automatically edited, and the person doesn't need to do anything else. And also contestants get chance to improve. So if a new becomes Wikipedia, of course, he doesn't know the Wikipedia rules and quality requirements. So when they start writing articles, and so they will receive feedback from the jury, initial feedback, and they can improve the article until the contest ends. So another thing is that Wikification is not scored. We have it like written in the rules that all the things that get scored is actually the text, and text must be like Wikipedia style, encyclopedic. Also, it's quite easy to organize. We kind of gather a jury of patrol-level Wikipedians, quite experienced Wikipedians who knows Wikipedia quality requirements, and find a sponsor. Mostly sponsors find us and say, "Oh, okay, let's do a contest in Wikipedia like that." And because our contests are external, like their rules do not violate any Wikipedia rules, and Wikipedia rules are considered higher than contest rules, we don't need to ask the community each time we want to organize a contest, but we only ask the community to place a banner of the contest, and it's not usually a problem. Then how the articles are scored? There is a bot, which is basically takes all the articles that get added to a contest and counts their size, added size of information which was added by the contestant, and it puts all these articles into a table for jury to put their scores to. So because your scores, some of the scores depend on size and quality, so people can win with both many of small articles and not so many but very big articles. So, and we actually had in one contest, we had 2 first places, like one of the contestants wrote 70 articles and another wrote 30 articles. So this kind of, I think personally that this formula size multiplied by quantity is like most fair. And this is how we score. Like it's very transparent and objective. Basically, we have each article is scored from 1 to 6 and sometimes 0. And So all the articles get 3 as a basic score, and then we add +1 if there are certain qualities in this article, and we add subtract some points if there are some bad qualities in this article. So every jury knows has these rules, and they know what to do exactly. So there is not like it's easy to evaluate if a jury is objective. So because it's also objective, we don't need many jury members to read one article. Usually, disagreements on scores appear very rarely. So we just randomly assign all the articles to one jury member, and each jury member needs to read his articles only. And if participants not satisfied, they can still ask another jury member to read his article. But usually one jury member is quite objective, and because they are scattered between different articles are scattered between different juries, so jury bias is not an issue in our scoring. Also, I already mentioned bot automation. Like all the person does, all the contestant does is adds a template after he writes an article, and if he wants it to be in contest, he adds a template, and then bot finds that article through this template and adds into the table. But first it checks for rules of the contest. For example, we have this rule that at least 3,500 bytes should be added to an article for it to comply for the contest rules. So bot automatically checks this kind of statistical rules.
So I don't know where you are in your presentation right now, but we've got a couple of questions coming in on the Etherpad and a few minutes left. And I was wondering, it sounds like bots are really an important part of your contests, and I would really like it. I think others may too, if you could share links to those bots. Maybe some description of what can be done to change them for different contests. But the questions we have here in the Etherpad is, how do you get new users to participate, and how do you retain them?
Okay. As I said, we promote our contests through a site notice. It's a big banner, like in the Wikipedia. So every time a person visits Ukrainian Wikipedia, a new person, maybe somebody who doesn't write Wikipedia, they see this banner, join our contest, and then they can join. And as I said, our rules are designed specifically to make it easy for newbies to write articles also. So Wikifycation is not so important. Templates are not important. Like our images are not important. So it's easy to participate, and retaining users is actually a big issue. I don't know how to retain them, because mostly contestants are not staying in Wikipedia.
Okay, I have a question about that. I guess this is a question for any of the panelists. And that is, do you follow up with them afterward? Do you invite them to other events, or do you have other things after the contest?
No. We actually invite them to only the winners of the contest to the awards ceremony, which is usually like a big event with journalists, maybe, and that's all. We don't do anything after the award ceremony.
One of the other questions is, can you compare participation statistics in contests that have prizes and those that do not? Or do expensive prizes lead to higher participation or higher quality?
Well, we don't have contests that don't have prizes. We have weeks, like Wikipedia article writing weeks, And usually these weeks are for like very experienced Wikipedians, like those people who are Wikipedians for a few years maybe, and they are bored, you know, and they don't know what to write an article about, so they join some week uh, article writing week, right? And it's without any prizes, but contests are the people usually people who don't write Wikipedia regularly, they join because we also noticed that uh, like very few experienced Wikipedians join these contests actually, because one of the reasons is here on the slide. Some try to give more chances to the newbies, and some try to avoid competitiveness. Like many Wikipedians in Ukrainian Wikipedia, they say we don't like this competitive feeling of contest, so we don't participate. And sometimes you can really see that very experienced the Wikipedians try to participate in the contest, but after the first week they drop it. They don't write articles anymore.
Okay, so it sounds like you have two different tracks for writing on particular themes. More experienced Wikipedians tend to go towards thematic weeks and leave the contests for newer Wikipedians or less experienced editors. And one of the questions that I've got that I'm curious about is, how do you choose the topics or the themes for your contests?
Usually, as I said, sponsors find us. Like for example, we had two contests about like regions of Ukraine, and they were organized by like organizations which are related to politicians in these regions. So like NGOs, our sponsors, direct sponsors are NGOs, which are kind of have relations to some politician, and they usually come to us and say, let's make something like that.
Okay.
So we don't usually choose a topic like, okay, last three contests we actually chose the contest chose the topic because it was writing articles about Wiki loves monuments objects and Wiki loves Earth objects, and also it was CE Spring. But frequently sponsor says what should suggest the topic. For example, right now we are working with Ministry of Culture of Ukraine, and they suggested, they reached us and said that let's make a contest about Crimea, because Crimea is like you know the story with Russia, so they wanted to do something about Crimea, and the suggestion was like that.
So it sounds like you get suggestions for topics from a variety of sources, both from the community and from the NGOs and partners that you're working with.
Yeah, sometimes actually Wikipedia community comes up with the topic. Like last year, we had a contest about NATO. Well, because it was like community was interested in this because because of the events in the world, and one of the Wikipedians, who is not Wikimedian, he reached Wikimedia Ukraine and said, "Oh, let's make a contest."
Yeah, I was impressed by the NATO competition because it seems like there was very high participation in that. And my understanding from the blog post about it was that there was a lot of news searches on that, and so the effort was to increase the number of resources on Wikipedia about that topic, which seems like a really great strategy for getting people engaged and also filling important gaps. I wonder right now, if it's possible, Cass Lever, who runs the Stub contest, was supposed to join. Cass, are you out there somewhere? I don't think that he is. And I don't know a whole lot about his contest, so I can't really give you the tips that he has, but I'm hoping a bit in learning patterns. Stub contest is something that we call like a high volume contest, so people aren't as much writing as they are performing particular actions. And I know that those have some challenges to judge and to track because the sheer volume of the work that is coming in can be too much for an individual to do. So if you have experiences with those or questions around how to run a high volume contest, please post them in the Etherpad, and we'll see if we can get Cass to answer those elsewhere. So in the last couple of minutes of this Hangout, I wanted to go back to my slides if possible, but it's not totally necessary because the questions are here in the Etherpad. Like I said earlier, these program toolkits and the learning pattern library are a community resource. It's something that that we built the platform for, but ultimately it's for you all to fill out and add more information and share your resources. So it's kind of a call to action here. If you can add in the things that you know, what bots, tools, and templates are you using to manage contests? What kind of resources would you like to, do you think you need to improve your contests? From your experience, what makes contests successful? What kinds of challenges do you run into with contests? And what strategies do you use to achieve your contest goals? If you want to add an idea or two to the Etherpad, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, come to the toolkit. On the forum, we're hoping to create a space where there can be more discussion between program leaders, kind of like this Hangout, where people are coming from different language Wikipedias. And yeah, overall, I had asked in the Facebook group if there was any interest in having a Hangout, an IRC chat, or some kind of focus group where we can talk a little bit more about the best way to host these Hangouts and the best way to pull together resources like toolkits to really be useful for the community and for people like yourselves. And I don't know if people are interested in doing that. There's a post on the Facebook page where you can add your name or add your interest here on the Etherpad. Are there any other questions that people have before we wrap up?
And if you're on the Etherpad, maybe you can type them at the bottom of the Etherpad. Wait a few seconds. Any last questions at the very bottom? If anyone else has questions?
I'll just say, in my experience of interviewing people for the learning patterns, I found out that each and every person I spoke to had some incredible strategies that they were using to achieve their goals, and were doing things that I was pollinating ideas between different people that I spoke to. So I'm sure that if you're on this Hangout right now, you've done a couple of things that would be super useful for someone else. So I'm hoping that you'll take the opportunity to share that both in the Etherpad or in the toolkit. I see a question coming up. So how is wiki syntax taught in Ukraine? Because I understand that was a group of people who hadn't been using Wikipedia before. Maybe you can answer that, Andrei?
Sorry, what was the question?
The question was, how is wiki syntax taught in Ukraine?
Basically, we just we didn't teach anything. Like people were the thing which is scored in articles is the text. So basically, each person can write a text from just copy paste the text from Word, and it will be scored as a good text if it fits Wikipedia requirements for quality of encyclopedic. If it's encyclopedic enough, if it requires fits verifiability requirements, then it gets high scores. So people were not told to teach to learn Wikitext right away.
Okay, so teaching Wikitext is not an important part of the contest with new users.
No. Like people pick up newbies pick up Wikitext like in 1 or 2 weeks after. For example, if we see that one person doesn't understand some point in wiki text. Now, for example, I don't know, references. References is the biggest issue. And so we usually go to a talk page of that person and say, oh, see how these references are made, and it will improve your scores in the contest. And usually people like get it right away after that. So usually it's direct contact through talk pages.
Okay, so you work with people directly on their talk pages. I see one more question coming up. We have reached the end, but I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. Even if it's difficult to retain editors after a contest, is there information about whether participants use Wikipedia more or differently after a contest?
We don't have like data on that, but certainly if a person comes to Wikipedia and writes I don't know, some journalist-style articles at first, and then after first week or 2 weeks of contest, they understand verifiability, and they understand the encyclopedic requirements. Then they start to like understand what Wikipedia is actually. But we don't have data. We don't know how to measure this, and usually we don't measure a lot of like outcomes of the contest because we have other things to do, you know.
Yeah, I understand. So it's not really something that anyone's collecting data on now, and it's hard to follow up afterwards. I think if anyone has ideas for how we can collect that information, it would be really great to share here or in the discussion forum on the toolkit.
What I can say, sorry, can I add? After the first contest, we realized that not so many people join the contest. Like, for example, we have this banner in Wikipedia, which is seen by, like, I don't know, tens of thousands of people, and only like 100 or 50 people join the contest, you know, and so we kind of realize it's not a really good framework to reach newbies, to make new Wikipedians. But it's a good thing to make really good high quality content, because after each contest there is like 2 megabytes of really high quality Wikipedia articles. So that is our main goal for organizing a contest actually, and besides that to have some incentives for Wikipedians.
Great. So what we've learned in this process is that all of the different contests have different kinds of goals, and they achieve those using different methods. I invite you all to visit the toolkit to see what other people are doing. I know that there are some groups that do work on retaining editors, and so you can learn about that in a learning pattern and add to it. But thank you so much to everyone who joined on the panel today and who is joining in the Hangout on air. Please let us know if you have any additional questions. Keep adding to this Etherpad, and share both this presentation and the resources with other people you know who may plan contests to sort of keep this community growing. Thank you so much. I hope everyone has a great day.
Yeah, thank you to everyone on the Etherpad too. I think this
yeah, I really liked this.
I really like Etherpad. And yeah, thanks to everyone.
Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.